Mr. Bostinaro.
What was presented by the European Commission do confirm that in this case we do have problems. Number one, if there are problems, the problems are to be addressed. And there are two levels to address the problem. One is the Bulgarian level, from the local side to the government side, and the other one is the European Union level. And here, I haven't heard yet about the conflict of interest, if there is a conflict of interest, if Olaf is involved in investigating the case, because if there is a conflict of interest, necessarily Olaf should have a say. And usually the say of Olaf, it's a very, very musculous one. And I do expect the European Commission, when it's about European money, to be proactive and to act quickly. And my final remark, what will going to happen if, in the end, you will have the confirmation that were irregularities and illegalities? Because in the end, are the Bulgarian citizens from Sliven to pay? I do expect that more than the two letters you've been mentioning before, we shall have also a consistent reaction, and you will exercise your institutional pressure over the Bulgarian government to take decisions. I think it's dramatically necessary because I've been told that in this case, Sliven looks today like after being bombed after the war, because the infrastructure have been somehow disrupted, the contract have not been properly implemented, and everybody is losing now. And this should be redressed as soon as possible. So my proposal will be the petition to remain open before the clarifications will come up from the two levels, the Bulgarian level and from the European Commission level. And I still expect Olaf to tell us if there is something wrong and the legality and the regularity of the EU money have been properly observed. Thank you.
Неделчева.
Благодаря, госпожо председател. Аз също смятам, че трябва.
Thank you, Chair. I also think we should really keep this petition open, at least so that we are all informed of what's going on the two levels, the national and EU level, and to obtain information that will allow us to reach solution and answer the questions of the petitioner and the position which is defended by the local authorities. I think this petition contains several aspects which we should take into account, of course. First, the articulation of whether national or EU institutions. I'm very happy to hear what the Commission said, that they will continue to feed in information about the procedure which has been applied. We'll be also happy if Olaf does their job well so that we have credible information. On the other hand, we have the national institutions. They are the legitimate sovereign institutions, and I would like to know, in this case of the town of Sliven, have there been any audits or inspections made by the national institutions, and what are the results before addressing the EU institutions? The second issue we can identify is the harmonization of national law with the public procurement law of the provisions of Directive 18 of the European Union, or whether it's Directive 17 on sectoral public procurement contracts. We need to have this information to see whether this harmonization is in place and where there could be some omissions. In this relation, as far as I understand, the major problem is the so-called framework contract. Under the public procurement law of Bulgaria, there is another form, which is a framework agreement. I would like to have more information, whether it's a framework contract, what is the whether it's a framework agreement, is there a difference in the procedure, is that a source of conflict of interest, and what is the opinion of the petitioner, what is the opinion of the national and EU authorities. Otherwise, I completely join everything that was said. We need to have more information. Let's really see what's going on, so that in a neutral and objective way we can find a solution to what the petitioner claims.
Grazie alla collega.
Thank you, Mrs. Nedacheva. She has put a few questions. I don't know if the petitioner might be able to respond. And I wonder if he could potentially augment the documentation, add a few elements, because there are some specific requests in terms of where the data that you used in your petition actually stem from. So a bit more precision, I think, would be useful, something in writing. Now, on this petition, I think it's fair to say that we need to keep the debate open, because both the Commission and Olaf... Sorry, someone wanted to come in? Yes, just one thing. Maybe you could ask for the floor a little bit earlier in the debate, because actually then I would be able to manage things a bit better. Yes, Mr. Kirillov, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few comments. Actually, it's because of this issue that I decided to join you today in the discussion. There is a history to this. We were aware of this problem more than a year and a half ago. And personally, I received a lot of complaints because, as Mr. Bustinaro pointed out, this regional district city of Sliven is actually looking like after it's been bombarded for a year and a half already. It's still in this situation. The center, main streets are barely accessible. This is the big problem as far as the citizens of the city are concerned. Of course, the rest, of course, can be dealt with. But after I visited, and that's long after the Commission received these signals, it was late last year. After I visited the city, I really saw with my own eyes what is going on. It was impossible, really, to move there with a car. And I sent a letter to Minister Donchev, which actually I hear now the Commission intends to send to seize him. He's been seized a long time ago. And I didn't make politics out of this because I was concerned for the way the citizens are bearing all this, and of course knowing that there are also European money in this project, which has actually just started and then stopped. So the answer I received from Minister Donchev, who is in charge of European projects being used in Bulgaria, was really, I could send you the letter. It didn't say absolutely nothing, which convinces me that there is really high protection here. There is, on a highest level, there are people who try to cover up things. And even today, things are the same. Everything has stopped. It will be soon 2 years. Now, I would like to ask the Commission, because it says that in their letter to you from the 3rd of March, that they still are waiting to receive the full documentation about the framework agreement. When we have in mind the plight of these people, 100,000 people, for already 2 years, living in such a situation, I think the Commission should show a little bit more concern. Nothing has moved forward. So just formal correspondence is not enough. I'm afraid I have to put the stress here. I know that there are problems in Bulgaria, specifically in the Ministry of Environment, although, as I say, the protection is on a high level. But how can you bear this? For 2 years, knowing so many European citizens in a city suffering out of this situation, at least why not go and visit it? And I'm afraid if we go on like this, we should receive some more signals. I hope that 2 years are enough for Olaf as well, but we should know, not taking sides, but just to know, because it's evident that here the European actions should concentrate. It is evident that on a national level we don't find answers. That's it. Thank you.
Grazie per...
Thank you very much for those important additional elements. It goes without saying that we'll perhaps ask Olaf to speed up its investigation procedures, and as we await subsequent information from the petitioner, we'll keep the petition open so that we can then decide the next steps when we have all the elements in place. Let's move to the next item then, which is item 14.